It's because we're not comfortable being seen. We come from a place of, and I think it's an advantage for us, believe it or not. I think it is because we bring two things to the table. We're not the boomers that are our parents. And what the boomers contend with is not wanting to change. But we're not the millennials who created the internet. We're not there either. So we lie in between two worlds that we can use it to our advantage if we bring our expertise and our life experience along with it. Because what those who came after us really don't have is life experience, because we can speak to the landscape of both sides. So I like to think of it as a positive thing and using it to where how we can help bring other people along. I hope I answered the question. Other people along in our business. So when we create businesses, owning our voice, but also owning our experience and let that be, our advantage and what separates us from everybody else. And also, we are Gen Xers. We like the last F around and find out. Use that tenacity. Like, use that
Right.
thuggism. Use that, because we don't come from the generation of, what is it, the Bush thing, what he did, No Child Left Behind. We come from winners and losers. We come from first, second,
Right.
and third
Right.
place.
Right.
So,
Right.
with that level of strength, that's actually an advantage. It's not a place of playing meek.
Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Unapologetically 50 Plus. My name is Angela. So, women over 45, we are building, we are leading, we're launching, we're experienced. We are capable, and yet we are navigating ageism, digital visibility, AI, and expectations around humility. And for Black women, that weight is even heavier. We've often been taught to soften our brilliance, to be exceptional, but not too visible. So today's conversation is about visibility, identity, power, and accuracy. And no, I'm not talking about ego or arrogance, I'm talking about accuracy. So, what does it look like for women over 45, and especially Black women, to stop shrinking and lead fully in this digital age? And that's what we're going to talk about. So today I'm joined by Tracy Collins, and Tracy is a marketing strategist who helps entrepreneurs clarify their message and strengthen their visibility in today's digital landscape. She understands the tension women over 45 face, stepping into social media, navigating AI, and owning their authority without shrinking. But before I bring Tracy on, I have one huge favor to ask. If you find any value or enjoy the content, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Your engagement really does help build this channel. So thank you. I truly appreciate your support. All right, let's bring out Tracy and get this conversation started. Hey, Tracy, love, how you doing today, love?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me again.
So today we are going to talk about ageism. We're going to talk about AI. We are going to talk about those of us over 45 trying to, do this thing in this technological world. So, and you're really good at this. Just listening to you, your weekly get-togethers for those of us who are in your group. You always have such valuable information. So I thought it was important for you to come on, give your perspective. Of course, I have some questions for you, and then help those of us who are trying to maybe start a business and um, get out there in front, on social media, and just learn how to get over that fear, and that comes with time, but also learning how to work and maneuver and pivot in this new world of technology. So let me start by asking you this. So, and I talked about ageism, and that's one of the things that always kind of hits home for me. Um, So what's a form of ageism that women, I'll say over 45, will experience or could experience in business that people don't really talk about?
Right now, what I'm seeing is the moral dilemma with AI. I'm seeing that more and more, and it really speaks to it's a couple of things. It speaks to where we're at now, currently, in conjunction with how we were raised and brought up,
Mhm, mhm.
especially women who are been taught to suppress our voices, not really owning what it is that we have to say as something valuable. And I'm also seeing it to where we are having a dilemma with embracing technology and where it's going. And I really just encourage people to look at it like the day and age of when the internet came about. And it's almost or is the same thing. It's like if you don't embrace it, you will be left behind personally or professionally. Because at this stage, AI is integrated into everything, like it or not. So it's best that you really understand how to use it.
So a lot of Gen X women are building their careers before social media was even a thing. So why does stepping into this digital visibility feel so uncomfortable?
It because we're not comfortable being seen. We come from a place of, and I think it's an advantage for us, believe it or not. I think it's because we bring two things to the table. We're not the boomers that are our parents. And what the boomers contend with is not wanting to change. But we're not the millennials who created the internet. We're not there either. So we lie in between two worlds that we can use it to our advantage if we bring our expertise and our life experience along with it. Because what those who came after us really don't have is life experience because we can speak to the landscape of both sides. So I like to think of it as a positive thing and using it to where how we can help bring other people along. I hope I answered the question. Other people along in our business. So when we create businesses, owning our voice, but also owning our experience and let that be, our advantage and what separates us from everybody else. And also, we are Gen Xers. We like the last F around and find out. Use that tenacity. Like, use that
Right, right.
thuggism. Use that, because we don't come from the generation of, what is it, the Bush thing, what he did, No Child Left Behind. We come from winners and losers. We come from first, second,
Right,
and third
right,
place.
right,
So,
right.
with that level of strength, that's actually an advantage. It's not a place of playing meek.
So let's go a little deeper though. Do you think the hesitation around social media and AI is really about learning the tool, or is it more about how we see ourselves at this stage?
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think it's essential from a growth standpoint, especially if you are somebody who is transitioning into your own business or changing or pivoting in business. But also, we're not comfortable seeing ourselves liking what we see, seeing the changes in our physical appearance because we're not 20 and 30 something years old now, and now we are dealing with a whole nother set of issues between how we look, our body changes, menopause, all of those things. And we have to get affirmed in that. It's really a value exercise. How are you valuing where you are and seeing yourself as the possibility for other people? Because there is somebody who is watching you that wishes they could do what you do. There is somebody who is admiring where you are. And so I always tell my people, my leaders, and now you may have heard me say this, is your gift is not yours. Your gift is not yours. And we try and hold on to our gifts like they belong to us. And it's not. It's not your, like, let it go. Like, your gift is not for you. You were given a gift to give. You are given a gift. You were created by a creator to create. So you can't stay stuck in the middle of I was created by a creator, but I'm not going to create. You can't stay there. That's a level of complacency, and complacency is a killer. You were given a gift. It is your job as a resident of this earth, and that's your part of paying rent on this earth, is giving your gift. Because imagine if what if Dr. Maya Angelou kept her gift to herself? What if Toni Morrison kept her gift to herself? What if Bell Hooks kept her gift to herself? Like, imagine like these powerful women if they would have suppressed their voices. Zora Neale Hurston, a lot of her words right now are coming forth. She was before her time and she was mistreated in the time that she was in, but now her words have so much power. She walked through all of that, tumultuous time and, things that she experienced from a societal standpoint to still let her words and her gift be seen. So your gift is not yours. So I know you like to think highly of yourself, and as you should, but that's a place that you really need to let your glow shine.
And I think another thing that happens with us, especially as, Black women, we're, like you said, we're afraid to be seen, but we've also been told to tamper down, or don't be so out there. Just keep those, keep do the work and do it proudly, but don't be too proud. Don't go out there and be too proud and show that. So I think that's also a lot of, at least for me, what's the balance between, being too, what's the word I'm looking for?
Humility,
Too
like
humility, yes. And being too humble. That's the word I was looking. Being too humble versus going out there and, like you said, showing your gifts, but also being proud and showing that what you know, and being proud of what you know. So I think that's also could be a thing for us in the Gen X's, is that we were told to, okay, calm down, don't be so arrogant. Don't be out there being so arrogant. Be very humble. So, and that takes a lot to be in front of a camera. You do have to, you do have to be a little more, I'm not going to say arrogant, but you do have to be willing to be out there and show what you know. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't believe in humility whatsoever. I don't. I don't believe in humility. Humility has really never served anybody. I have always subscribed to silent women don't go down in history. And because I know my purpose, is imperative and important for me to really step into the position that I deserve. I believe in being confident and not arrogant, but I am also okay with you owning what you do. Yeah, I did that. That was me over there. Say it proudly, but also in that, show other people how to do the same thing. There's a way of giving back to where you can. I just believe that if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. So everything that I stand on has always been centered around that. And I think humility is for the birds. It's only somebody else who is trying to suppress you, is telling you to be humble. No, 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 man, we don't do that over here.
I like some of the conversations that we have in your leadership group. I'm not going to repeat some of them because, I might upset a certain group of people, but we talk about the mediocrity, and they have no problem with just like popping their collar, and you're like, but you're mediocre.
You don't have to say it. I believe it. Like, have the audacity of a mediocre white man. Mediocre white men have the utmost audacity. They don't look like anything. They pockets ain't popping. And then you want to have you want to command a certain level of attention and authority. Like, have the audacity of a mediocre white man. We are too focused on. We've been taught to be so excellent in how we show up that it becomes exhausting. Versus knowing that you you are enough just as you are. So you just showing up, somebody's watching, somebody's paying attention, and you are inspiring somebody. Trust me, they may not let you know it, but somebody is always paying attention.
And I think the other thing, at least for me, and I'm speaking from my own experience in still navigating the social media world, especially YouTube, that if you're looking solely at the numbers and the views and the comments, you'll get your feelings hurt. I don't know how many times I'm going, I think I have pretty good content. No, it's not perfect, but I think I have pretty good content. And, I'm comparing myself to other content creators, and you can really get your feelings hurt. So, again, you do need to know what your why is and what your purpose is, and don't solely base it on the views and the comments and so forth, because you will say, well, maybe this isn't what I meant to do. So you do really have to have a grasp on and your why of why you are doing this and what your purpose is. Otherwise, yeah, the social media, especially, YouTube, it'll it'll really hurt your feelings.
I agree. I hate YouTube. I do. I stopped just doing long form content and just focus on short form at this point because they just don't push it out. YouTube's algorithm, and I have found people who started YouTube pre-pandemic have had greater success than those who have had, created since post-pandemic. Once people got on the internet during the pandemic, channels that were already existing thrived and they excelled and they took off, and they've really been able to ride that wave. Those who started really creating post pandemic tend to have a little bit more time depending upon what your niche is. And I know with my channel, it really started with people wanting, with me moving abroad or moving to Mexico. I don't want to talk about that. How many of y'all talk about where you live all the time? Like, that is not who you are. Like, geography is not who you are, or what your expertise is solely. And so me right now, I'm contending with the transition of back to really what I know. I mean, yeah, I'll talk about Mexico in some aspects, but I'm not outside every day. I'm not, that's not what I offer. I don't offer relocation. My emphasis is really on businesses. I care about you getting paid. That is at the end of it. I care about you monetizing your intellectual property and putting smart systems in place in today's business landscape and how to leverage that. And people not really trying to hear that from me. They want me to talk about Mexico all the time.
Yeah, that's definitely a hot topic, the travel and moving out of the United States, so forth and so on, or finance or something like that. So yeah, I definitely understand and understand. And I do long form, one, just because I like doing long form. I love talking to you ladies, but I do end up breaking some of that up and putting it into shorts. So yeah, that's a method to the madness as well. So let's talk about what's underneath it all. So what are the real fears behind not showing up online consistently? Is it, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll let you answer.
I mean, I think it's some of what we already talked about, but it's also, algorithm is a numbers game. Algorithm is how controversial are you? How consistent are you? It is it is that. And because we don't have any control over how the algorithm is going to algorithm that day or during that time or what's happening in the world, it becomes daunting. It kind of speaks to what you were just talking about if we just solely look at the numbers. And having a strong reason why will help you kind of get through that. But you really have to look at the numbers. You have to see what people are responding to. You have to, if you, visibility is currency for people who do have a face forward business. People buy into your story. No, gone are the days of people, you just put a pretty website up and people are buying from you. People don't care about that. If they could care less about how beautiful your website is. It's the story behind the creator. It is the relatability. It's the authenticity. And the authenticity is going to be the driving factor, because once people start buying into who you are, then they'll buy anything that you sell. But you have to show up and be seen in order for them to do that. And what I mean, there's spaces like what a Substack. Substack is the excellent space for our writers. And, LinkedIn is another space where you can leverage those communities. But regardless of which social media avenue you choose to leverage, you are going to have to be consistent. And if you're inconsistent, it will reflect in your visibility online.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, what would it look like if Gen X, because that's who my audience is primarily, if Gen X women stop hesitating and actually led in the AI and digital space instead of watching from the sidelines? And how do you encourage them to you yourself as a business analyst and strategist, I should say? How do you encourage those of us
You
to
got
get
to
off the
do
sidelines?
it. You got to do it. It's just a part of the learning curve. And those systems are in place and they can be utilized for you not working so hard. If you put the proper system in place, you can have AI agents working for you to comb the space for leads. You can have AI chatbots built into your website to respond to just the simple general questions of your business. You can have AI really work for you. And so by the time they get to a human being, they've already been weeded out and they're ready to engage you in your services. When you don't do it, it just makes you work harder. It further exacerbates you and leads to burnout. And then you can't do what you started out to do, which is, monetize this brilliant idea in your business, because you're too focused on the task and the labor part of the business building, or the things that, the administrative stuff, or even social media, like leveraging the AI agents in social media, because they're there. Regardless of how you feel about her, you're gonna have to, honestly, and I hate to say it, get over it. It's just I see the problem with AI. I absolutely see it. In the leader community, we had someone come in from London, and she spoke about deep fake, but it empowered you guys because you knew then what to look out for. You understood that. We had Alex and Brooke come in last year, and Alex, really spoke about AI governance and how to approach it from an ethical standpoint. So you have to learn the good and the bad, and how you can use it responsibly, how you can use it to make more money and show up in more places at one time without you having to physically always do the work. And that's the part where Gen X, we come from. We come from long division. We come from showing your work. And people want to see your work, but they want to see it differently. They want to see a day in the life of. They want to see you behind the scenes. They want to see you with eye patches under your eyes, because we all got bags and dark circles. So what is your skincare routine? They want to see that work. They want to see the frustrations. But when it comes to, like, the business online aspect, let AI do the work. That's what it's there for. It's made for you to work quickly, more efficiently, and it's also there to weed out people or systems that are not working.
So, two things. One, and I'm putting you on the spot here. You need to do a course on the back end of exactly what you're talking about, because a lot of us don't know, well, how do we get this information? Where do we go to get this information? So I mean, I'm just putting it out there. That should be a course that you create. And yes, people would need to pay for it, of course, but because I mean, that was, as you were talking about, I'm thinking, okay, well, how do I do that? That just sounds like something else I have to learn, how to go on the back end and have AI. I mean, I use AI a lot myself. But I'm sure I'm still a novice compared to a lot of other people. But those are the kind of things as Gen X, we're like, okay, you're throwing so much at me. How do I do this? How do I? So think about that.
I'll think about it.
I'm always asking Tracy, do that, Tracy. I'm always and she as a trooper and a woman who is really trying to help other women build their businesses, most of the time she comes through. So I have to say she I really appreciate all that she does in our leader group. So, and the other thing I was going to say is I know I'm saying Gen X a lot, but that's who we're speaking to at this point. That getting on social media and being vulnerable, because we were raised to don't be telling all your business, don't be going out there looking any kind of way. But you're right, the authenticity of how do you do that, like you said, your skincare, or I like some of the things where you're out there baking bread, which I'm actually trying to learn how to make sourdough. I've gotten all the ingredients, but I haven't gone there yet. But anyway, those are the kind of things that being vulnerable and letting people in, and it doesn't need to be perfect. And that's another thing. We don't need to be perfect when we step into this social media realm, because nobody wants to see, I shouldn't say nobody, but most people want to see the authentic side. They don't want to see the perfected side, because if you wait to try and perfect it, you'll never start. And that's one of the things that I know you hammer into us in the leadership group too. It doesn't need to be perfect. People don't want perfection. So um so and we were talking about this earlier. So when does humility stop being a strength and start becoming a way we've been taught to shrink, especially for Black women?
I think since Plymouth Rock landed on us, we have been, told to go out there and work, and people are monetizing off of our work. They are monetizing off of our efforts. So it's a DNA coding almost. It's an epigenetic force against us. And that's why it causes sometimes a visceral reaction when we're asked to show up and exercise our throat chakra. But that's the power in that. Like, the power is, I have this quote that literally shook me to my core, and it's in one of the projects that's I've been working on for 6 years now. And in this quote it says, and I think I'm going to paraphrase it, but what does it feel like to have the weight of society in your nervous system, or something like that, or the weight of the world in your nervous system? So we carry that in our nervous system. And so sometimes when we speak, it becomes threatening, because they're not conditioned to hearing our voices, because our voices have the passion and the lineage behind us to amplify that, because we're not just speaking for ourselves. We're speaking for those that came before us and those that are going to come after us. And we know that as a collective. But, we have been taught to dumb that down or suppress that for somebody else's comfort. Your discomfort ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't have nothing to do with that. That's something for you to work out. I can't hide the truth. I'm just a vessel to get it through. And when people really embrace that level of understanding, and not really so much just embrace it, you have to embody it as a way of speaking and being. I know I'm intimidating. I know I contend with that every day because of how the cadence in which I talk. And sometimes it is to a fault, but I mean, I don't have time here to play. I don't know how many of y'all do. Like, but so, and I take words very, very seriously, because I understand the power of words. And so when I speak, it is with intention and with passion. And sometimes we like things kind of wrapped in a nice bow. To me, sometimes that bow is too much effort. I just need to tell you like it is. And you have to contend with the truth. That's a you thing. That's not a me thing. I'm not saying everybody got to do it this way, but it's But I've always been this way now that I think about it, because even when I was 10 years old, I was getting in trouble for my mouth. So
That's because
that's
you
because you.
come from Oakland. So, who actually benefits when Black women downplay their brilliance?
Nobody. Nobody.
Okay.
Like nobody benefits from no structure, no institution, no person in society, nobody in the community, nobody benefits. They just don't want us to step into that because they understand the power in which we hold. Oftentimes, we are the ones who have an issue with that.
So, explain that more when you say we have an issue with that.
It's in our appearance, how we look, how we sound, how we show up. We are highly degreed, highly accomplished women, but again, it is, we still second guess ourselves. We don't trust our intuition. We don't trust our voice. We don't trust that we can build the table. We think that we have to be given permission to sit at somebody else's table that they've already built. No, you can build your own. Society, not society, but mankind started with us. You are the prototype. So therefore, you have to walk in that knowing. And once you embrace that way of living, then you really understand, or it gets easier to know that you have the capacity to build should you choose to. And it's important to be surrounded by other women who think that way, who are not intimidated by your shine. Again, that becomes a them thing, not a you thing, So I'm not an empath just by nature. That's not how I've been designed. But we have to not take on everybody else's baggage. And releasing that baggage, it'll enable you to fly more freely.
So, why does it sometimes feel like Black women are expected to be exceptional, but not too visible?
Because what we create is monetized. It brings forth money. It creates movements. But you can't have you, like, even with the Black Panthers, like even with patriarchy, it was the Black women who did everything. The men were on the front lines, as they should have been, because they weren't necessarily the brains behind the operation. But if you go and look behind the scenes, you see, the women who stood there. And even still to this day, the men tend to get all of the credit. But trust and believe, like even with Michelle Obama, do you think that Barack would have been able to accomplish what he was without her? Come on now. This is why I love this era that she's in. She's like, okay, you need to sit down. Now it's time for me to focus on me. And I love that for her. I love the fact that she can wear her hair like she wants to. I love the fact that she has her podcast with her brother. I love that for her. But I also see a girl who spent so much time pouring into other people that now in 50, late 50s, in her 60s now, that she is finally able to shine. Think about all of the years that she sacrificed just to get to where she is. So imagine Michelle, had she been 35 and we got what she offers even at the age of 35, and as she grew into who she is now without having to give herself over to people. Giving is exhausting. I think Black women need to luxuriate into being poured into.
I agree 100%. So let's make this personal and practical. What does it look like when a Black woman speaks plainly and confidently about her work and her leadership and her impact without downplaying it?
I have this conversation I just had it yesterday. We are very cerebral in how we show up because we've been taught to be. But when we really own our voice, it's really about the message and the transparency of our journey. and making it so plain and clear that even a 10-year-old can understand it. We have been trained to think if we speak up here, it is going to draw people in. People are too busy trying to figure out what the hell you're saying. What are you talking about? Huh? Versus like, just talk to me. And it's always the doctors, lawyers, and tech people who do that. It's like, stop talking like that. Even sometimes finance people do that. Talk to me in layman terms like I am a human being. It doesn't mean that I won't grasp what you're saying if you were to speak above my head. It's just going to take me a longer time to get there. And what happens in that longer time period, people are also deciding if they want to work with you or not. And if you can shorten that gap just by meeting people sometimes where they are, not devaluing what your offer is or how much your offer is, but just speaking in such a tone that again, even a 10-year-old can understand it, it'll get you further much faster. I don't know if I answered that question.
No, you did. And I like that exactly what you're saying is that we don't and shouldn't talk up here. I like when I'm on, my podcast or when I'm doing my social media talks or whatever, that I want it to sound like I'm talking to my girlfriend or my friend, someone that I don't need to have these big fancy words. It's just me and her or me and the camera talking, but I'm talking to you like, we were just having a one-on-one conversation because I know I don't like when people are trying to use these big words. I'm like, just talk to me in layman's term. Talk to me just plainly. You don't need to impress me or, try and use these big words so I know that you have this education behind you. Just talk to me like, a normal human being without all the fluff in it. So no, that makes perfect sense what you're saying. So I want to close with this. If women over 40, I'll say 45, and especially Black women stop shrinking to make other people comfortable, how do you think business culture would shift?
I think you will see more funding opportunities open up for us. I think that we would learn the language of like the venture capitalists, firms that are out there. I think the margins would start to be greater as far as funding opportunities for Black women because there are companies and organizations and firms that want to give you money. So not stepping into your voice, your power, your offer, what you do is prohibiting you from not only being seen, but also leveraging other opportunities that can expand your business and opportunities in itself within your industry. I think when women really start owning, you're gonna start to see more position taken. Now, it doesn't mean that other communities are not going to be held responsible for the monopoly on certain industries. But when we start vocalizing, oh, okay, we see you, we see how you operate, but guess what's over here? And guess what opportunity they could be potentially missing out on because of having a monopoly in certain aspects. So meaning like the monies that are out there, because what's the difference maker or the differentiating factor is the money. It is the access to capital. And when we start really stepping into who we are, what we offer, what we do, why we do what we do, and we start making that part visible, who we are helping and bringing along, what's going to happen is you're going to start to network and be in other rooms with other people who know folks, and opportunities are going to start to unfold and open up for you. It's when we shield and don't do that, then you don't know what's happening. You don't know what's going on. That's why in the leader space, you'll see me drop when Cartier has a funding opportunity, or when Tory Burch is doing something, or when there's the other one. It's always on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember. I think is it Goldman Sachs, the 100 Black women Goldman Sachs, they have their annual, annual thing where they put Black women entrepreneurs on. Essentially, that's exactly what they do. I just dropped some grant funding opportunities for women, for Black women, and just leaders and founders in the leader community. I also just dropped Black VC firms that are in there, because there's spaces that we could leverage, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to stop being afraid to press go on you.
Okay. Well, I like that. So, another idea for you. Put together a course to teach us how to apply for these things and what, the wording that we need to say. Because I know a couple of them that I've applied for, just to kind of get my feet wet. I had no idea what to say and how to not how to apply, but what to say and what they look for and so forth. So I don't know, just another idea that you could make money off of.
I think that'll be a good thing for women who are in the leader community. The whole how to apply using AI. That's essentially where it's gone to now. There's a way to use the AI tools that are out there. So it speaks specifically to the organization or company that you're submitting your information for funding, and how to leverage AI to do that. But yeah, I think I'll probably do that one in the leader space.
So that means those of you listening, you have to join Tracy's her leader community. So, you won't get it unless you join. Tracy, thank you again for coming on. It's always a pleasure talking to you because, again, you come with wealth and knowledge and wisdom and all that good stuff, and you give it so freely. So I appreciate it. So you guys, thank you. I will have Tracy's information in the description below. And please remember, again, to like, subscribe, comment. It helps me build this community when you do those things. So, and I think that's it. Any final words, Tracy, before we get on out of here?
No, thank you again so much for having me. I mean, I love talking about this stuff. Any other podcasters out there, I love coming on podcasts and talking. So don't hesitate to reach out. And I mean, I love that you keep showing up, Angela. I know it's difficult. I mean, I know that it can be challenging or you don't feel like it, but we don't base business on emotions, because if that's the case, we would never get it done. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, you guys. Well, that's the end of this episode. So I will see you again real soon. Bye.